What's going on, everybody? I'm Jeff Kirkshit, and welcome to another episode of Do What You Love, and I'm so excited for our guest this week. Surprise! I'm a baseball fan. If you didn't know that, then you probably don't know a lot about me and my upbringing. Baseball is a huge part of my life, and when it came to baseball guests, it was kind of difficult for me because I've had a chance to be around a lot of baseball growing up, and I've met some incredible players, some incredible managers, umpires, you name it. However, I was scrolling through TikTok, and that's where I saw our guest. Ryan Weiss is a minor leaguer for the Arizona Diamondbacks club, and the kid has an amazing story, and I've never met him before, so this is a first on Do What You Love, having a guest on that I've never had the pleasure of meeting in person. However, hey, there's a first for everything. Ryan Weiss is in with us. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm here to tell you right now, your story, your video on TikTok has really blown up and has spoken a lot to not just the baseball world, but to the world of many people who have gone through difficult times. And I want to get into that. I want to talk baseball, but I first want to say we're recording this on June 30th. And yesterday, Ryan, you had your first professional save. And I wanted to say congratulations. That is so cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You've been working out of the relief, or out of the bullpen, I should say, as a relief pitcher here and there for the Amarillo Sod Poodles. Nothing better than a good minor league team name, right?
Oh, I know. When we got here, we were just like trying to figure out what a sod poodle is, and we were just like all laughing about it. And then whenever I tell like friends and family, I'm like, "Oh, who you play for?" I'm like, "Oh, the Amarillo Sod Poodles." They're like, "Sod Poodles." I'm like that's exactly what I said too.
Right. Well, I mean, you look at it, there are so many amazing minor league teams out there with names. You've got the Akron Rubber Ducks. You've got all of these great names because they're able to get away with it because baseball is fun. These games are supposed to be fun. And I worked at a minor league stadium, low A, or actually I believe they're high A, Frederick Keys for the Baltimore Orioles. And I know you came up and moved pretty quickly through the Diamondbacks system, and you are a professional baseball player. Now, before we get to your family history and what brought you to be the man you are today, how does it feel to call yourself, you're getting paid to play baseball. You're like the luckiest guy on earth here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's cool now because COVID's over with in terms of now we can actually have a season, but yeah, it's just great to have fans in the stands again. I mean, you got people taking off work to come see you play, and I mean that's pretty cool. And so we just try to cherish it as much as possible, dude. It's awesome.
That is so cool. And I think that being able to say, obviously you grew up playing sports, baseball specifically, and the dream is everybody says, oh, I want to play in the MLB, I want to be a Major League Baseball player, I want to be a professional baseball player, but you're actually living that dream. And that's why I wanted you to be a part of Do What You Love, because you are the epitome of doing what you love. And I think that's so important for people to realize that whether it's your career path, your hobby that you get to do on the side, what you get to do on a Friday night, whatever it is, find time to do what you love. So, Ryan, I want to get into the video that drew not only my attention, but the attention of so many others. And I know it's a difficult thing for you to talk about, and I don't want to set it up because it's your story, the story of your parents. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open about my story. I know it's pretty unique. So, I mean, I just went through a lot. I mean, if for those of you that don't know my story, I encourage you to go kind of look through it and just see what it is because I lost both parents by the age of 21, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. I had to grow up pretty quick, but at an early age I noticed that my faith was going to become a huge part of my life, which it has. I realized that baseball was going to eventually, hopefully, allow me to have the platform of talking about going through loss and when it comes to just your mindset with mental health and just kind of and being a good person, and then obviously my faith. So I mean, it's all led me to where I am. Sorry for all the rain and the Amarillo weather that's going on right now. I'm on my porch, so bear with me right now. But but yeah, it's I encourage you to go look it up.
Yeah, I'll put the link to your website in the show notes for today. So if you're listening, you can check that out below. You also do a lot of coaching, you do a lot of guiding, and
Mm-hmm.
also your whole story is up there. You know, there's one thing that's always kind of bothered me a little bit. It's the fact that a lot of people would say to an athlete, shut up and dribble. Just don't have a cause. Don't care about anything. You're a Christian man, and I think it's good that you talk about that, whether I was a Christian or not, which I am. But I think it's important for you to talk about your faith. And I think it's also important for you to speak out about things that you care about. I mean, I'm a local radio host, and I constantly talk about things I care about. What makes me any different than you, right? What makes me any... Just because I have a radio show doesn't mean I'm any better or worse. We're both human beings, and we should use our platforms. And, you know, if it's all right with you, the beginning of the video on TikTok shares that your dad took his own life when you were just 14 years old. And I can't imagine what you were going through at that time. You're a young high schooler playing baseball, I assume, maybe some other sports. You're just getting to know yourself and this huge loss. And now you've kind of dedicated a lot of your career, your life, your time to suicide awareness. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be able to play, but I mean, it's really not about me. Um, I'm the one that's able to play, but if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't be able to be in this position to even play. So I just try to give back as much as possible. That's why through TikTok, I mean, it's a real fun platform to, if you want to be goofy, be goofy. If you give up a couple homers, put it up there and show everyone that I give up a bunch of homers, because I do. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, being able to give back, I mean, throughout my life, I mean, we mentioned the loss that I went through. I mean, so many people have helped me out in my life that if I weren't to do that in return, that'd just be crazy. That just wouldn't be fair. I mean, it's just honestly disrespectful and rude if that were to be the case. And so that's why I really try to do my best and give back and teach the younger Ryans, if you want to call it that.
Right, right. Well, I think sometimes, a lot of the times, that just a couple weeks ago, I had a cancer survivor who's still battling a lot of difficulties, and throughout this diagnosis for her, she has learned to help others. And maybe where she was lacking in support when she was going through it, she has now been that support for others. And I think that's so important and so big of you to be able to do it. And I think, you know, after losing your mom before you even got drafted, Ryan, you've been dealt a tough hand, yet you're still such a, at least from what I see on social media, and I know things are different in real life, but you're such a strong Christian man. And I think, as a Christian myself, one of the biggest criticisms from people who, you know, don't follow Jesus Christ, aren't a God follower, they say, how could you do that? Like, how can you be given such a hand and still believe there's a God, Ryan? Right? Like,
Yeah.
That's the question I get as a Christian all the time. Do you get that?
Yeah. I mean, people are always like, oh, did you ever ask the question, why me? And I never did. Sorry. I'm like, there's just Amarillo.
No, well, I want to let everybody know, for the record, that's Rain, okay? Don't worry. And we're doing this outside of Ryan's apartment because do you live with former player or current players, teammates?
Yeah. I got a couple of roommates, so
you know how
respect their time.
Yeah, respect their time. And you know how a bunch of 20-year-olds are going to be, right? If they see you on a video call, they're going to be yelling probably inappropriate funny jokes in the background of them. And, you know, saying to put your pants on and whatever it might be. So don't worry, get through, because what you have to say is more important than the rain. So, and your time is so valuable. So back to the people say, why you, Ryan? Why you? Why could this happen to you?
Like I said, I never really asked that question because a couple of my family friends said to me at an early age, like, God he gives his toughest battles to the strongest warriors. And so, I mean, I guess that was me. It happened at 14 and then again at 21. When I was 14, I was like, okay, obviously my dad struggled. It wasn't just like he had cancer or I saw it coming. Like, clearly he was struggling mentally. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to, that's in my control. Right. And so I just wanted to be a better him. I wanted to make his name greater. And then when my mom passed, it was kind of like, okay, it's time to grow up. I can't do things that normal kids do because that's just not me. That's not in the cards. It's not what God has for me. And so at least I was able to realize that at a young age. And I mean, that's what you said, being a Christian, it's not easy because a lot of people want to pick Christians apart and say, well, they're a Christian man, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that. Well, you know what? I'm not perfect. I'm gonna try to live my life the best I can. But if I mess up, like I'm gonna mess up, and my sins are forgiven, but I'm gonna mess up. And I just hope if and when I do, I'm just given some grace and people can just respect the fact that I'm trying the best I can and I'm trying to live the right life. So
that is so well said. We're on with Ryan Weiss, a minor league baseball player and Christian, and has a story to tell. And I think that it's one that a lot of people can relate to. And I want you to know that it was the perfect storm when asking you to be a part of this podcast. I mean, I wanted to dive into your faith. I wanted to dive into, your message of preaching suicide awareness and your message of being strong. And then, of course, the baseball connection. I could sit here, I'm telling you right now, Ryan, I could sit here and talk baseball with you for 7 hours if we had the time, but I believe you have a game tonight. But that's the beauty of it, is you're more than just a baseball player. Okay? Yeah. You're a son. You're a fiance. Congratulations, by the way. That is incredible. And was your fiance in your life at the time of your mom's passing?
She was not.
So you came into this relationship, kind of a different man. You said after your mom passed, you had to figure it out. You said, okay, Ryan, It's time to be a man. And do you feel in some part of you that in that dark time, losing both of your parents within the span of 7-8 years, that God brought you your fiance to the new man that you are right now?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get away from the rain. It is coming down.
Oh, we don't want it coming down on your phone, that's for sure.
I know, right? No, yeah, I definitely think things that I've went through, they're all trials. I mean, I'm still going through trials. They're just not those. And so I don't want to ever say that someone's trial is greater than another one, because that's just not true. That's where you just gotta get to know people, ask them what their story is. But yeah, I definitely think that after all of the loss that I experienced, like being able to be blessed with Haley Brooke, my fiance, it's remarkable. And I gotta tell everyone, I'm like, you know what? It's one thing to be engaged, but I'm not excited to be engaged. I don't want to be married. I mean, she's incredible. So we're gonna get married here soon after the season. But yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait.
Well, I'm an engaged man as well, and we're planning on getting married April 30th of 2022. And I wanted to get married in the baseball offseason as well, as to not put pressure on my dad, who works in baseball. And originally, you get this, right? My fiance says, oh, October in Las Vegas, it's the best. And I said, October is a month we will never, ever, ever get married in. I'm just letting you know. That's the playoff season. We can't. And she goes, really? And I said, my dad would tell you 100 times over he'll be there and he'd never. But I can't do that to him. And your life has kind of been, I guess I got to say, like, run by baseball. You work on a schedule. You travel. How difficult is it keeping a strong relationship with you, your fiance, and God throughout difficult times? I've covered minor league baseball players. I've covered major league baseball players. The lifestyle is not easy. For anybody who thinks being a professional athlete is fun, it has its fun days, I'm sure. But it's difficult. How have you managed to be a professional baseball player with all of the traveling, all of the hard work, all of the workouts, and maintaining that relationship?
Yeah, definitely, obviously, God's at the forefront of our relationship. I mean, he's the foundation. And so I think when it comes to say we're on the road or we go to extra innings and it's a long night, like just knowing that my fiance will give me grace and be patient with me if it comes nights like that. Or, I mean, if I'm not doing well, it's like everyone says it's like, oh, you're a professional baseball player. Like, yeah, everyone sees what we do on TV or on like a Statcast or all that, but like when we go home, like we don't want to talk about work really either. So it's like understanding that there has to be a balance of uh of work and non-work. So it's like, she's been great. Being able just to vocalize to each other what's going on and just give each other grace, have patience, and then I mean, obviously, it's just been so much fun having her with me for the season. I mean, just investing the time that we do together. Like last night, she got my first save in pro ball, and I come out of the locker room and she's all like, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She's like all energetic, like loving it. She's like, oh my gosh! I'm like, all right, settle down. Like it's 11 o'clock. It's like she's just all excited. She's all amped up. So it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
That is so cool because, in the absence of two amazing supportive parents, you've got her. You've got her to be there for you, and I think that's so incredible. And you talk about growing up and being mature and being in your mid-20s and having to do this. I live across the country from both of my parents and my only sibling.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's been really difficult because I've had to learn to grow up. It's different. My situation, obviously, is not nearly as trying as yours has been, but at the end of the day, you got to grow up, right? You got to learn to live your life. And I think that's pretty amazing because even when I get home from a morning radio show, I just talked for 5 freaking hours. You think I want to do another radio show and tell you all about it? So it really is a give and take. It really is a give and take with your significant other. And I think you and I are in very similar spots in our lives right now where the hustle is real and you got to keep working. That's why I started this podcast, man. I wanted to have the opportunity to have really awesome conversations with people like yourself. Let's talk minor league ball, but away from the actual sport for a minute so we don't go too inside baseball and bore everybody who doesn't love baseball as much as you and I do. Let's talk about the element of the minor leagues. You have moved up in the ranks. You're playing Double-A, and in the Arizona Diamondbacks system, what has been the goofiest, funniest thing you've seen done at a stadium you've played in? Is there a bit you've been a part of? Are they racing churros down the left field line during the 7th inning stretch? What is something cool that even you players kind of get a kick out of?
Let's see. I mean, there's a lot. Like before COVID, it was crazy. Like it seemed like there was something new every night. Now that because of COVID, it seems like it's backed off a little bit because they can't have as many people on the field, but they're starting to get back to it. But let's see. And in low A, we had this one guy who was balancing any item in the ballpark off his nose. He just came to the ballpark for like 3.5 hours and he just like balanced anything off his nose, which is like hilarious.
We'll have to tag him in the podcast to give him some love.
What else? We'll do a bunch of like, who are they? They think they're from the Chicago area. Like they just run and just like they're like acrobatic. They just like run and jump off a trampoline and just tumble. That was really cool.
So for you guys, especially in the bullpen, and you've started, but you've also done some relief pitching as well. Yeah. It can get kind of lonely and boring out there at times. So you're also watching the entertainment, right? You're also having a good time. Yeah. Trying your best to enjoy whatever stadium you're at.
Yeah, whenever a kid isn't incredibly resilient and persistent on asking for a ball for 9 innings, that part can get a little hectic because you're just like, I want to make your day, but at the same time, like we have to warm up with a ball too. So it's like I can't give you a ball and say, hey, can I borrow that back? I gotta warm up.
Right.
But yeah, no, we just being able to watch. Like I said, I've only been in the bullpen now for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, so it's much different down there than in the dugout. But I mean, I'm learning to like it. I'm learning to enjoy it. So we'll see how it continues. But I'm excited for it.
Well, Ryan Weiss is on with Do What You Love, our podcast, and I'm loving getting to talk baseball. I'm loving getting to talk minor leagues because I spent many a summers working in minor league baseball. I've done play-by-play. I've never played. In fact, Ryan, I don't know. I'm going to embarrass myself here. I was one of the press guys for the Frederick Keys, and they had me down to the field during BP because they said they wanted me to cut some videos or whatever. I go down, and they give me a bat and a helmet and said, "You're going to take BP." And I said, "No way in a million years am I taking BP." And the time, Eduardo Rodriguez, if you're familiar with him, I believe he's still with the Boston Red Sox. I might be wrong on that one. But he was a pitcher for the high A, and he said he was going to throw to me. And he's a major league pitcher throwing 98 miles per hour. I said, no, thank you. I took some from the hitting coach, and that was the end of it. And the one thing I want to get into is what a lot of people don't realize about baseball. And you've played your whole life. But how difficult this game really is. I don't think I can stress it enough of how difficult it is. Truly the most one-on-one of the major sports than anything else. Because you can pick and roll and get Steph Curry guarding LeBron James, and then we've got a mismatch here, and you know LeBron's going to slam it in his face or pull up, and Steph can't do anything about it. But at the end of the day, Ryan is going to face every single player, and it's one-on-one. It's me against you, and it's you against me, and that's how every single at-bat starts. How would you describe the difficulty of this game? You're throwing 95 miles per hour. That's a joke how fast that is, by the way. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's baseball's hard. No one, I mean, when people in the big leagues, when they're doing their thing, and you know how you see like that box, like if it's on Fox or if it's on ESPN, like there's a box for the strike zone. Like we don't have that. Like when we're pitching, like that's not there. Like when guys are like, when you're watching baseball on TV and like they throw it right on the corner, like they don't have that box. Like that just shows you how good they are to be able to like hit the spot that you can see on TV. Like that's how minimal that is. Like that's how minute that is. And I mean, in the off season, and like I picked up golf too, and golf and baseball, it's like I'm not good at golf, trust me. I'll be the first one to tell you that.
Well, Ryan, I'll let you know, I have a lot of buddies who have played college ball and some a little bit professional, and they pick up golf, and it's not easy because it's a different thing. Do you slice the ball off the tee? Does it go to the right? Because
it just depends. Like I'll slice it, I'll pull it. It's just like if I can get on the fairway off the box, then it might be a good hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, because that's the thing. Baseball is 3-4 hours like during the game that you have to lock in. But then golf is the same thing. Mm-hmm. Like you have to do that in golf too, and it's just like they're both incredibly hard. Which is I think why some of the baseball players like the golf is because it's like the same thing, but it's just like arguably harder.
Right. So Ryan, I want to get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts here, especially when it comes to, you mentioned the box, right, on Fox or ESPN, where they put that up there to show you the pitch tracker. Where did that one go? Yeah. How fast was it? You don't have that in live baseball, obviously, but there's been rollings and people talking for years about getting automatic umpires, like computer-based umpires, where if you get it to that corner, that's a strike. If not, if you miss, it's a ball. As a pitcher, as a professional pitcher, what are your thoughts on that? Because they'll try it out at the minor league level before they ever bring it up to the major league. So tomorrow, just like they did with the pitch timer, you guys were the first to have to deal with that. And how do you feel about an automated umpire?
I mean, in baseball, it's one of the sports where there's such a human element to it that I don't want that to disappear. Personally, like I want there to still be umpires. Like, because when people say, "Oh, umpires are bad," like they're really not. Like out of think about how many pitches they see per game. Say they see 250 pitches a game, they might get like 10 wrong or 20 wrong. But if you really understand like the statistics of that and the math of that, that's incredible.
Yeah, if so you threw how many times, and now this is I never pitched and I never played on a big enough level. I was an umpire when I couldn't play anymore. I just couldn't keep up with guys like you. I mean, I really couldn't, because when I hit 9th grade, I was 4'9", and guys like you were 6 feet already and throwing hard, and I just couldn't keep up. So I ended up moving on to musical theater, which that's a whole different story. But out of 100 pitches that you may throw, how many of them would you say you miss your mark? How many, like, out of 100, how many?
Yeah, I miss my fair share.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm making the same argument towards what you said about umpires. 250 pitches in a game, they'll probably miss 20.
But I will say though that if the catcher is set up on the inside corner and I accidentally miss and I throw it on the outside corner and it's still a strike, that should still be called a strike because baseball's hard.
It's very, very true. It's very true. I couldn't imagine being a professional baseball player like yourself. You're so blessed to be where you are at your age. And as much as trials as you've had in your life and tribulations, you have had so many blessings. And I think that's so awesome. And
Amen to that.
I know, right? Amen. That's for sure. Now, my dad and I have a crazy hypothetical, and I want to pitch it to you before I let you go. Okay? Here's the hypothetical. I'm sure you have a lot of buddies you grew up with that don't play ball, right? That maybe played a different sport. The hypothetical... It's so dumb. I can't believe I'm sharing this on a podcast. But as a professional pitcher, I need to ask you. If we put average Joe, pick one of your buddies you grew up with, maybe even an athlete, but never played baseball seriously in his life. Never played high school ball. You put him up against Clayton Kershaw.
Yes.
And Clayton throws 100 pitches to him. And in this world, Clayton is throwing strikes for the most part. He's not trying to throw one into the dirt, 12-6 curve. He's not trying to make him miss, but he's still throwing a slider. He's still throwing 98 miles per hour. Your buddy from high school who never really played professional or high school ball, how many balls does he, one, put into play, and how many balls does he make contact with?
Okay, well, first of all, if Kershaw got 0-2, he's going to throw something in the dirt. So, like, you have to take that out of the hypothetical.
Very true. In this,
how you get a guy out.
He's more throwing like BP, let's put it that way. But he's throwing Kershaw BP. So he's throwing 100 pitches.
That's not fair, though, because that's not what he's used to throwing. Like, that's just not fair.
I knew exactly. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, then let's put it this way. All right? You're pitching on the mound. You get 10 pitches to a buddy of yours who's a heck of an athlete but not a baseball player.
Okay.
All right? And you're trying to, well, we'll say 9. You're trying to strike him out 3 times. Back to back to back, strike out the side. Let's put it that way. How many times is your buddy getting a hit? How many times is he putting the ball in play? Not even a hit.
He's not getting a hit.
Thank you.
Like, but I'm also not going to throw like 80%. Like, I'm going to throw as hard as I can.
Right.
Because, like, if he, on the off chance, if like I were to throw like, if I were to lob the ball home and I threw like 80 miles an hour and he got a hit, like he would never let me live that down. So like I'm not gonna let it get to that point.
You're a competitor, and I love it. And I love that also you lobbing the ball is 80 miles per hour. If I ever threw a ball 80 miles per hour, I would die. It would be my arm would fall off.
It wouldn't really be 80. It'd probably
no,
be like 50,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Ryan, I appreciate you more than you know. I hope one day, you know, you and I get to meet in person. I know you've got a bright career ahead of you, and I wish you all of the luck with baseball. And, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. This is between you and I and everybody listening. I am ordained in Las Vegas. So if you and your beautiful fiance ever said, you know what, F it, which me and my fiance have felt like that sometimes, let's just elope. And you just let me know. I live in Vegas. I do a radio show here. I would have you guys filled out, ready to go, married.
If anything changes, I'll let you know. How about that?
Love it. Ryan, you're the absolute man. I wish you the best of luck this season. I'll be following you, and everybody can follow him as well. Give him a follow at Ryan20 Weiss. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. And, yeah, good luck with your career, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Ryan, everybody, thank you.